This is not the only issue which we are ignoring, the only issue which is frankly not even being considered on the floor of the Senate. There's another one that is equally important to me and to most people across this country, and that is with dealing with the challenge of immigration. A few years ago, a bipartisan group of senators, 8 of us, Senator McCain, Senator Schumer, myself, others, sat down and wrote a comprehensive immigration reform bill. It took us months, Republicans and Democrats sitting down face to face, night after night after night, going through every section of our immigration code to come up with a comprehensive bill to deal with the obvious shortcomings. But we did it. And we brought it to the floor of the United States Senate and received 68 votes, 14 Republicans joining the Democrats to pass this comprehensive immigration reform. We sent it to the Republican House of Representatives, and Speaker Boehner refused to even consider it. And so all of our effort and all of our work really went for nothing. We continue to face the challenge of immigration. We know what it is at the border, where we've seen under this president the worst border situation in modern times. His refusal to acknowledge the 3 Central American countries which were sending all of these immigrants to the United States led to some horrible circumstances. Recently, the Inspector General of Health and Human Services came forward with a report on the Trump administration's response to this border crisis. It was a report on the policy of zero tolerance. I'm sure you remember it. It was under Attorney General Sessions, who somehow found a quotation in the Bible to justify forcibly removing children from their parents. We removed 2,880 children from their parents at the border under this zero tolerance policy before there was an uprising in the United States against it and the president backed off of it. I commend the Inspector General's report on what happened to those children to every American. I saw it firsthand. I witnessed these children having been removed from their parents and the trauma they went through as a result. So why aren't we debating immigration policy on the floor of the United States Senate? I'm told that perhaps later today a senator from Utah, the junior senator, at this point I think he's a senior senator from Utah, will come forward with the unanimous consent request to consider fixing one part of the immigration problem. I want to fix that problem and many more. And I want to make sure that when we come to the floor to discuss immigration, as we should, that we take up the issue of the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act was a bill that I introduced in the Senate 18 years ago. It said if you were brought to the United States as a child and you were undocumented in this country and you've gone through school and had no criminal record of any serious consequence, you deserve a chance to be able to earn your way to legal status and citizenship. I introduced this bill 18 years ago. It's passed in the Senate one year, the House the other, but it's never come up many times with the 60 votes, the supermajority required in the Senate. When President Obama, who was a co-sponsor in the Senate, had the White House under his control, I asked him to consider an executive order to achieve the same goal, and he did, creating a program called DACA. 790,000 young people across America paid the filing fee, went through the criminal background check, and received protection to stay in this country and to work legally. Of course, September of 2017, President Trump abolished this program and took away the protection these young people had. He was challenged in court, and the court said, we're going to continue this program until it's resolved at the highest levels of our federal judiciary as to whether or not President Trump has this authority. On November 12th, across the street in the United States Supreme Court, they will consider that case. 790,000 lives, and more for that matter, lie in the path of that decision, hang in the balance of how the justices make this decision in their future. This should be debated on the floor of the Senate. It's why we're here. It's why we were elected. I think we can find bipartisan answers to many of these questions, but we need the Senate Majority Leader, the Republican leader, to really accept the reality of the Senate actually going to work, Instead of speeches by individual senators on the floor, as impressive as they may be, we might actually pass a law. Think of that. A bill coming to the floor, subject to amendment, actual debate in the Senate chamber. We'd fill the galleries. It's such a novelty. It doesn't happen anymore. And unfortunately for America, many issues, whether it's gun safety or sensible immigration policy, are the victim of our inaction in the United States Senate. We can do better, and we should. Ultimately, the American people have the last word as to whether this Senate will act on issues like gun safety and immigration. The last word is your vote. In the next election, I hope more and more Americans will vote for a Senate that responds to the challenges of our day and doesn't avoid our responsibility under the Constitution. Madam President, I yield the floor, suggest the absence of a quorum.